Yep.
Yep.
I feel like we might be too bright, but I can't really tell.
It's a little brighter than it usually is, but
So, the thing is, when I put it on this screen, like, look at this right here. When I put it over here, well, this screen it's dimmed. See, it looks dark on that screen.
yeah, but
So I don't know. Whatever.
well, good evening, good night, happy Saturday. Happy what's today? Saturday, April 9th night, everybody. Let me take off my glasses because there's a glare.
What's up, people? Listen, if you hear now, I don't know what I just did to the camera. It was
If you're here, let us know. Shout out in the comments that you're here.
if this is a replay, also do that. Put that in the comments. So listen. Here it is. We're gonna get right to it. Right? It's not a lot of
Oh,
people
okay.
watching right now, but we're gonna get right to it. So if you're not familiar with this, let's have a conversation after dark.
Hi, sister. My sister's on.
Have a conversation after dark. What's up, family? I want to thank you for just your consistent support. Thank you for that. Like
Mhm.
I didn't tell you this. Like she shares a lot of the stuff I put on LinkedIn.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
thank you. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, for real.
So if this is your first time, if you're catching this by replay or if you are jumping in, um, here's the whole deal with this. The whole deal with this, having this late night conversation is so that it will encourage you to have conversations like this.
Yep. Yeah, we're really bright. Look at my face.
These are,
Shiny.
and I turned it down.
Ooh.
These are conversations that are either going to be taboo or going to be tense conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But they are conversations that we should be having. We should be having as people, we should be having as couples, we should be having. So, if you looked at the description, you saw that the title of this one tonight is Sex. I want to try something different. Now, for some people, this is not a taboo conversation. There are some people who can have this conversation and have it freely, and it's not a problem. It's never been an issue. But we're here to tell you that based on our experience and based on our experience as it relates to the couples that we sit with, this is a difficult topic.
Yeah.
And because it doesn't arise, here's what happens often when these things are not talked about. We do a couple of things. We come to our own conclusion about the other person and what they think and what they feel and what you think their ideology is and what
Mm-hmm.
you think their opinion is. And then you treat them according to what you conjured up in your mind.
Yeah.
So I feel like you think a certain way about a certain topic, but I've never talked to you about it.
Right.
So, but my approach to you is as if you told me what I conjured up in my head.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's what we see all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what that leads to often, especially if it's something that you feel is a negative or is a negative thought, then I build up some level of resentment.
Mm-hmm.
Now I resent you. You don't even know why I resent you because
Right.
we never talked about it. But I just assume you feel a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
So that's why these conversations are important. And this is one of those conversations where you have couples who are trying to increase the intimacy on all levels in their relationship, but specifically the sexual intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to increase the sexual intimacy. And what they find is that there are things that have not been said.
Yep.
There are things that haven't been said. There are wishes that haven't been fulfilled. There are fantasies that haven't been shared and
Yeah.
subsequently haven't been fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
There are things they want to do and want to try and want to say and you know, but nobody said anything. But
Mm-hmm.
yet they have this resentment towards each other, and their sexual intimacy can't grow.
Right.
All
And
right,
there's resentment. You said that,
and
right?
there's resentment.
Yeah.
So there is the overarching context for this conversation tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we only got a few people. So those of you who are in the those of you who are with us right now, just engage in the comments. The couple of you that are with us right now, do me a favor. Also, the couple of you that are with us right now, please share this so we can get some other folk in the conversation as well.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. Why do you think that's a difficult conversation? If I want to, well, you know what? Let's go back before we even talk about why it's a difficult conversation. Here's another thing that is kind of an offshoot of this is that there are some couples where one person does not feel like you should want to try something different.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And that right there causes some level of dysfunction in their relationship
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and discord in their relationship.
yeah.
So let's talk about that first before we go forward to where I was going. Is it okay to want to try something different?
Absolutely. It's okay.
Okay,
Yes.
I listen, I got to ask. I got to ask because there are people who don't feel like that. There
It's
are people
absolutely
there are people
okay.
who feel like, and we've read articles and we've seen things and talked to people who believe that the missionary position is the certified stamped
Certified.
position of approval, and anything outside of that is not warranted.
What do you mean not warranted?
It's either not allowed, it's either not necessary, it's either I've even heard some people throw in uh spirituality and biblical kinds of things to say that you can't do that. So to to stop mixing words, which I wasn't mixing words, but if we're if one person wants oral sex,
Mm-hmm.
or one person wants to use toys,
Mm-hmm.
or one person wants to open up the Kama Sutra and look at all these different kinds of positions, right? I think we have a game. Did we ever buy that? I think we did. We have a card deck around here somewhere that you can pull out the card, and on the card there's a position that you can try, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people, there are some couples that are against that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Why? Well, obviously, I'm not asking you why are they against it, but
I think that it's just their level of comfort, and it goes back to, for a lot of people, how they've been, what they've been taught about sex.
mhm,
I guess, like, it's a bad, not, well, yeah, some people say it, well, not bad thing, but it's a taboo thing. Don't talk about it. So if you're always hearing don't talk about it, you know that's not something we talk about, we're not going to discuss that, then when you get married, you're going to have those types of negative responses to it,
mm, okay,
and it's going to be difficult to um get that out of your mindset, type thing. So I think that that has a lot to do with it. I think, very blurry. I think
it's
embarrassment
I don't know,
has,
something's going on with the
I think
camera.
too, embarrassment has something to do with it,
Okay,
which again stems back to, you know, the past, or what you were told about it or not told about it.
okay, I okay,
I
and
guess. I don't know. What do you
yeah,
think?
I agree with that. It definitely has something to do with what we've been taught. Um, we've also been, we've also, many of us, not all of us, but many of us have also been under this ideology that anything outside of the quote unquote norm
Hmm.
as it relates to sexuality and sexual positions and uh, uh, what's the word? Creativity in the bedroom
Hmm.
is is perversion.
Do you think do you think that in biblical times it was, they were creative?
Yes,
I do too. So
without a doubt.
I do too. So I wonder where that came from. Where the, like you said, the missionary style. Like that's it, nothing else. That's like, where did that come from?
I think that that was just like many other things that have been handed down to us as it relates to what Christianity is supposed to look like and how biblical principles are supposed to be played out. I think a lot of that was just handed down to us by folk who had an agenda for some reason or another. Like, for example, did you remember what was the guy Kellogg? I forgot his first name, but the whole premise behind um the whole premise behind cornflakes, if I'm not mistaken, and those of you watching, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The whole premise behind the reason why cornflakes was even created was that the formula was supposed whatever they used to create it was supposed to minimize sexual desire. So to answer your question, that's where that's where all of this
Oh
foolishness
my
comes from.
goodness
That that we
gracious.
can't have these conversations, we can't be creative, we can't. That was handed down to us.
Do you know I never knew that?
Yeah,
I never knew that.
that was his ideology behind creating that cereal was that it was going to, because it doesn't have nothing in it. There's no, I
Right.
guess because I now this is my assumption. I'd have to read a little further, but because there's no sugar, there's no these kinds of things that is there's nothing that can kind of
Oh,
get you going.
excited.
Right.
Well, there's sugar in it, but maybe it wasn't when it was first made. But I
Yeah.
I see your point.
So here's a question then. So how do we now, if I am someone who is I'm uncomfortable,
Hmm.
but in the back of my mind I'm like, okay, but I'm curious, I want to explore with my wife how do I now bring up that conversation that I want to try something different? How do I bring that up?
First, I think the first thing that that person would have to do is reassure their spouse, because it may not be the husband, it may be the wife.
Hmm.
So reassure their spouse that they love, how things are now. They love making love to their spouse and, just love to be with them intimately in that way, sexually, so that they don't feel like, I hate this, let's try something else. Do you know
Okay,
what I
I
mean?
got you. I
I
got you.
think you would definitely need to start there with the reassurance that I love this. I cannot wait to be with you. I'm always excited to be with you. This is just beautiful for me, whatever, whatever, whatever.
So it's not I want to try something different because I don't like what's already happening.
Right.
Okay, I got
Correct.
you. I'm
Yeah.
following you now. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
I think that that's where they would need
That's where
to
you start.
start and ask, what do you think about, I don't think that this is me and you talking, for
Mm-hmm.
example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with, trying other things. I think biblically there's nothing wrong with it. So let's get that out of the way. What do you say we try something else? Let's just try it. Let's
Mm-hmm.
try something different. If we don't like it, then fine. But
Right.
can we just try it? Let's just explore. Because the thing is, you don't want your sexual intimacy times to become a bore, to become
Mm,
just mundane
okay.
and just another thing that you have to do type thing.
Right. There should be some fun. There
There
should be
should be
some
some
exploration. There
fun.
should be. So, okay. So let's dive in a little bit more into deeper into the pool.
Don't make me drown.
How different is too much, in your opinion?
In
Where
my
where's the cutoff line? So I want to try something different, and I start naming some things.
mhm,
So let's say I start. I'm just going to throw things out there at
mhm,
random. So
mhm.
oral or anal or toys
Well, I
or
just think that that's just something that every couple needs to.
so you think it's based on the couple.
I think so. I think that every couple needs to come up with that decision for themselves.
Is there anything that could be listed that you feel like no matter who the couple is not a different that you should try?
Um, I'm not sure because I'm pretty sure that I don't know everything.
So I'll give you an example.
I
So
I don't know.
I'll
I
give you an
just feel
example.
like that's just for other people to decide for themselves.
So the reason why I ask that is because for me personally, everything is fair game except bringing in somebody else.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. Now, I think that everything is fair game, but that doesn't mean that every couple
No,
should
no, no, no. Yeah, I agree.
should do everything.
I
Again,
agree.
it's preference, but
I agree.
I agree that probably everything, as long as it's not, it doesn't say anything about it biblically, whether it's right or wrong, which I don't think
I don't
so.
think there's anything that I'm not sure that we can. Well, let me say what I'm going to say carefully. What I was going to say is I'm not sure that we can even use that as a reference point because I
Why
don't
not?
know that it says anything about any of those things
Well, that's why
in
I said
scripture.
I don't think to my knowledge, it doesn't. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So the only thing in scripture that references anything in this vein, the conversation we're having, is the talk about adultery,
Right.
which would I would my assumption, I'm not a biblical scholar, but my assumption is that if you and I bring in a third person
Hmm.
into our bedroom, that is probably can go under the category of adultery.
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, that's a cutoff point. But anything between the two of us, I feel like is fair game, provided we're comfortable with it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is that people are not really talking about what they want. And I think that's the problem. People are not actually saying what they want, that they want to try something different,
Yeah.
and they want to, you know what? I'll put it on me. I won't put it on anybody who's watching. I'll put it on me. I'm pretty sure that there are some things that I have not said to you
Really?
just because I,
Wow, I'm curious now.
well, just because I don't know. No, let me be honest. It's not because I don't know. It's because I actually don't want you to say no.
I can understand that.
Let's just keep
I
it a
can
buck. It's
understand that.
because I don't want you to say no. I don't want my idea, which I feel like is a phenomenal idea.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'll be honest, I think of these fantasies and us being able to travel and go places, and we look at certain things. Like, I even show you some things. We show you like these nice bathrooms and
Bathrooms.
showers and
Yeah.
things that I like, and typically there is some fantasy attachment to that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be like, hey, I want to try this, and you be like, you give me the stink face, because then I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't.
I don't think, well, see, that's the problem.
Hmm.
That is a big reason as to why I think couples don't have these
I
conversations,
agree.
because they don't want to hear no. But
Hmm.
what is so wrong about hearing no though?
I don't. There's nothing wrong about hearing no, but it just does something to, and I'm speaking for myself now. I'm not speaking for anybody else. It does something to my ego. Maybe it is.
Oh,
Maybe it's ego.
I don't think that that should be.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it should be either, but I'm just saying that's how it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's how it happens for a lot of people, and so they avoid having the conversation. Now, here's the difference.
Mhm.
I'm not resentful at all. Like, I'm being 100% honest.
Mhm.
But I think what happens with a lot of people is that they have these things that are kind of pent up and that are inside, and they really want to experience these things, and they haven't said anything about it, but yet at the same time they don't want to feel like they don't want to feel the rejection, but then they act as if they've already been rejected,
Yeah.
and that's where the resentment comes in.
Is rejection the right word though?
It might not be, but that's the only word I could think of.
Yeah, I don't think that's the right word. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that's why people don't have those conversations. Man, these folk are quiet in the well, it ain't really nobody watching, but it's
Yeah.
like three
So
people watching. So, but the three people who are watching are quiet in the comments. Well, you're the one of the three. So the two people that are watching are quiet in the comments. But that, I feel like, here's the thing: you have to have a conversation,
mhm.
because everybody wants.
Everybody,
I'm going out. I'm
everybody.
going out on a limb. Everybody wants to explore sexually.
I don't think everybody does. I think I
So
think
why is sex so crazy when you're single?
what?
Everybody's doing all type of wild foolishness when they're single. Everybody wants to explore.
I don't
That
know.
doesn't go away when you get married.
I don't know. I kind of don't think that
Okay. All
everybody,
right, not
I don't
everybody.
think
I
everybody wants to explore. I think that there are some people who are perfectly fine with the little box that they put themselves in and their relationship in, and that's good enough for them. And they're fine with that.
I would
Both of them are fine with that.
I would dare go out on a limb and say that they're not fine with it, but they're comfortable with it.
I don't
There's a
know.
difference, because I can box myself into a space where I know I can control, I know I can manage, I know I'm not going to get rejected or whatever that word is. And so now I'm in this space where it's only going to happen this kind of way. It's only going to happen with these kind of circumstances. It's only going to happen in these kind of places. I'm not going to ask to do this. I'm not going to ask to do that. And I put myself in a place where I'm comfortable, but I don't think they're okay with it.
I think so. I think some people are. I
Yeah,
think so. I think that there are some people who are.
so the reason why is because here's the thing, right? And this doesn't apply to everybody, because everybody wasn't sexually active before they got married.
Right.
But for the people who were sexually active before they got married and were doing all type of crazy foolishness, right? In the bathroom, at the club, and on and here in the car and in the in the back of the parking lot, all this
In
kind of
the
stuff,
bathroom at the club.
all kind of
Wow.
stuff, just all, and then get to a space in their marriage where they cannot have a conversation with their husband or wife or partner or significant other about stuff that they want to try and do.
Mm.
Like, that's a problem. That's a problem. It, I was going to embarrass us, but I'm not going to do that.
Do not.
I won't. I
Please
won't. I
don't.
won't embarrass us.
Just don't say anything
Yeah.
else about us.
Yeah. I wasn't. I was going somewhere, but I decided not to. I reeled it back in.
I wonder what you were going to say.
I reeled it back in. But and especially here's the point I was going to make, though, based on what I was going to say. For those people that I just described, I promise you that they still want that. They still want to do those things, and they still want to experience those things in marriage,
Mm.
especially if they're not happening anymore.
I don't know, babe. I don't know.
But we never gonna know because people don't talk about it.
That's true. People do not talk about it. I mean, I guess
Listen,
they figure why, a lot of people, yeah.
so here's the thing. I'm kind of going around in circles. I'll be honest. I'll be transparent. I expected more people tonight because I wanted to thrive off of the comments
It doesn't matter.
that we got.
What were you going to say?
But I'm just gonna say this because we may not stay on too much longer, just since there's not a lot of involvement. But the conversation has to take place. And here's what I think. And I know this is not about. I know this is not about providing um, any level of guidance or advice. That's tomorrow's show,
Mhm.
which is Inside the Relationship. For those of you who are, shameless plug, if you are not following us on YouTube, make sure you follow us for this and other things that happen on YouTube. But I will say this, even though it's not supposed to be advice, I will say this, that you have to find a way to have these conversations with your spouse. Because if you don't, and if you haven't felt this already, at some point, if you continue to keep that in, you will begin to feel unfulfilled sexually.
So let me ask you a question then, because you said that there are some things that you don't ask me
Yes.
because you don't want me to say no.
Yes.
So, having said what you just said, do you think that you are going to start feeling unfulfilled?
No.
Why? What's the
No,
difference?
because our sex life is great.
So is the other persons who, like I said, are in this box.
Well, okay, you're right. That's a good point. For here, I hate to say this because it's gonna make me seem like I'm different than anybody else. I'm not different than anybody else. But here's the thing with me: what happens with us, I enjoy to the fullest, and I'm cool with that. And it's not a box that I've put myself in. It's not what we just described. I'm not. I'm not just accepting what happens with us because I don't want to talk about anything else. I thoroughly enjoy what's happening,
Well,
and
I
I'm cool with that.
I think that that can be said for anybody else as well. Then,
And it could be. But here's the thing, just like what we're telling them, we need to do the same thing. Like, I do need to have
you
that
do,
conversation with you.
yeah.
I do. I do need to have that conversation with you. But I feel like, and here's where I feel like where the difference is with me. I feel like, especially with the couples that we sit with, because we see this kind of discrepancy, I feel like there are a lot of people who are not having the conversation, but yet are very uh dissatisfied. Well, that's a strong word. Not necessarily dissatisfied, but they're longing for the opportunity. I'm not longing for the opportunity.
Mm,
If it happens, if we have a conversation and I share some things with you and they happen, then that's icing on the cake
hmm.
because the check boxes of things that I enjoy, many of them are already taking place.
Mm.
So that's the difference. So
Yeah,
I'm not really pressed to be like, oh well, let's try this, because I'm not looking to fill a void of any kind.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like the same could be said for anyone else.
I agree, but you're trying to be nice for everybody.
I'm
I
not
I
trying to be nice.
agree.
I'm just saying that I think that how you feel
Hmm.
is how the other couple, they could also feel that way as well. They're just like, this is fine, this is perfect, this is great. I love it. I'm good. That's how you're saying you are.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no difference.
You're right. There is no difference. So the bottom line is that you got to have the conversation.
Pretty much.
If you want something different, if you want to experience something different in the bedroom, you need to speak up.
Yeah. I mean, it's
You need to speak up. Period.
what's the most that they can say? No. And then what? You move on from there.
So here's the thing: should you even say no? Now I'm getting messy. Should you say no?
If you are uncomfortable with it, I think so. Why would you say yes if it's something that you're not comfortable with?
Because of something you said earlier. You were like, okay, let's just try it. And if we don't, what's going on with this camera? Let's just try it. And if we don't like it, then, so why can't it be, let's just try it? And if we don't like it, then we exit off the list.
But if I'm saying I'm uncomfortable with something, why would you even say let's just try it? I mean, so you come to me and say, you know, let's try this XYZ. If then I say to you, I don't know, I'm kind of uncomfortable about that, I think that it should be okay, cool. If I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe we should try it. What do you think? Then the let's just try it would
Okay.
come into it. But if I'm telling you that I don't feel comfortable doing that
Hmm.
or even trying that, then that should be the end of the conversation,
Okay. Is there
in my
anything that you're
opinion.
uncomfortable with that you can think of off the top of your head? I know I
Uh,
put you on the spot.
you did,
I'm
and
sorry.
yes, but I'm not gonna say right here.
Okay. Fair enough. I didn't, I said it and then I was like, I put you on the spot. I didn't mean to
I
do
mean,
that.
that's okay. I'm not gonna say right here.
Um, well, there's nothing. No, that's not true. That's not true. I was gonna say there's nothing I'm uncomfortable with. I don't think that's true. I got to think about it, but I'm sure that's not true. I'll tell you this: I'm not. I watched this show, uh, Billions, and not so much anymore because he's not into it anymore. But one of the main characters was heavy into like S&M. I'm not. I'm not down with that.
Okay. I
Like,
mean, Cameron Green said, I don't think it should be shut down completely. Your spouse, completely, if your spouse suggests it, unless it's just something wild, laugh out loud, or there is trauma. That's a good,
that's a good
good
one.
point.
That's a good point.
Attached to a specific act. Really, really good point.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
good point.
If there's trauma involved, yeah, that's that. Yeah, there's a no brainer. Like
But
if there's trauma attached, then it's a negative.
yeah, but the thing is, unless it's something wild, like that's could be a relative term. What
Well, yeah,
I
it
consider
is,
wild may not be wild to someone else. So I
and
don't know.
that's why the conversation is important. That's the
Yeah,
whole reason why
right.
we're even doing any of this tonight.
Yeah,
Is because what we want you to be able to do, if you're not able to already, is to have this conversation with your spouse or significant other. You have to have it because then you won't know,
right,
right?
right.
And we're preaching to ourselves, right? Because as comfortable as I am and as happy as I am with our situation, we still need to have the conversation, right? Because there's some things that we need to know,
Hmm.
even if we never try them. We just need to know where we stand
Yeah,
on certain things,
yeah,
right? So you're right. Wild is relative. And the only way you're going to know that is if you actually express to the other person,
yeah.
hey, you know what? I was thinking about trying this.
Hmm. Yeah.
What do you think? And the other person might be like, hey, fam, that's over the top for me. Like I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. That's over the top for me. So we gotta figure out something else. And then your spouse should be able to be okay with that.
Mhm.
Now, well, that's a different topic. I was gonna say, what if your spouse isn't okay? Then what do you do next? But that takes us down another road.
Yeah.
That takes us down a different road. And that's where we have to start giving advice. And that's not what this thing is about. This is really about you this is about us presenting you with a conversation starter that we want you to continue to have after we turn this camera off in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So that's really what it's all about. Here's my thing. You have to let your spouse know if you want to try something different. I will even push you a step further. I'm not saying you got to be doing all types of nonsense. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying this, and you said it. You do not want your sexual life to become mundane.
Yeah.
And you got to pick up on the cues. Like, if we're really honest with ourselves, we can pick up on the cues where this thing is just becoming just,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
you
know,
can.
just a chore.
Mhm.
And hey, you know what I'm saying? Get yours and roll out. Right? We know when that's happening. We can feel when that's happening. And you got to have a conversation.
Mhm.
What would you like from me? What do you need from me?
Mhm.
What would you like to experience? What are the things that turn you on? What are some of your fantasies? What are some of the things that you would like to try? What are and it's not
I think too that a lot of people when I think that they feel like exploring fantasies is like that's just that is off limits. Like
why though.
I don't know. I
I
think
mean, the
that
fantasy involves you, so why would that be off limits? Now, if I'm fantasizing about Jane or Erica down the block, that's a
yeah,
different story.
I think that people I don't know. I just feel like sometimes people might think that is not a safe area to go to.
Yeah, we got to get away from that. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you so much for that. Hopefully, I'm
Thanks.
saying your name
Yeah,
right.
thank you, Cameron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that. I appreciate that, and thank you for being here. Appreciate you for being here and
Mhm.
being in the comments as well. Um, so here's the thing: the fantasy thing, right? Is and here is again why I feel like this points back to just how we have been conditioned to view sex.
That's the word, conditioned.
If, for example, I'll give you a great example, a real world example, and I hope I'm not embarrassing you with this example.
Oh, come
I
on.
I love
If
I
you're
love
gonna
the shirt that you have on.
thanks.
I love the shirt that you have on.
You've never said that to me before, but
And
you choose right now to say
well,
that.
I'm sorry that I've never said it. I apologize in front of everybody watching that I've never said this to you before. I love the shirt that you have on. Right? Let me take it a step further, and and there's a reason why I couldn't do this earlier. And I talked to you about what was happening with me
Mhm.
earlier. When you first put it on earlier today and you came out, I was like, I had plans. I do.
Uh,
That's a fantasy.
okay, okay, okay.
That's a
Yeah,
fantasy,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
I think that people would not categorize that as a fantasy.
So what are you thinking when I say fantasy? Because I think I know where you're going, and I think that that's okay as well. But
I don't know. I like not other people, but just different than what you just said, but I don't know how to explain it.
so I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one. Recently, I was looking at some. It was some vacation destination. I don't remember what it was, but I was looking at a video, looking at a video, and they were going through like the rooms, and like one room like opened up into like this little private like um pool that actually overlooked the water,
Mhm.
so you could literally like step out of your bed
Mhm. And
and
into the
just
pool.
roll into I was like, goodness gracious, what I would do to that woman if I was in that room. That's a fantasy,
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
right. There isn't.
And we got to be able to express those kinds of things
Mhm.
to our mate. We
Yeah.
have to be able to talk about those things. You need to know that that I'm thinking that and that I'm
Mhm.
feeling that way. Because here's the thing, right? Just like you just said, I've never expressed to you that I like this shirt.
Mhm.
Hearing that feels good.
It does.
So knowing that I'm trying to, you know, flip it, slap it, flip it, rub it down, whatever they BBD said, knowing that I want to do that should be that should be a great
Oh
thing to
gosh.
that should be a great thing to know.
Yeah. I agree.
So we gotta start having these conversations, folks. We
Yeah.
gotta start having these conversations. If you want something different in the bedroom or outside of the bedroom,
Hmm.
because different may mean
A
different
different room.
location,
Yeah, different location.
right? It may mean a whole lot of things. Different means different across the board, right? If you got to have those conversations, and you got to be able to share. Listen, your spouse wants to be wanted.
Yeah.
Period. Even if it's some, and I'm going out on a limb when I say this, so to just tell me if I need to reel it back in. Even if the thing that you describe is something that they're not 100% comfortable with, knowing that you're thinking about them in that way
Well, I
and
mean,
you desire them, I think is helpful.
yeah, I think definitely the conversation should be had.
Mhm.
Yes. But again, I personally feel like if the person is uncomfortable with that after you've
Yes,
expressed
then
what it
then yeah,
is,
you got to do the right thing. The right thing is you should your the comfort level of your spouse should be paramount.
and then to Cameron's point where she said she doesn't think that it should be shut down completely, you know your spouse.
Hmm.
So it may be that your spouse is just a little shy or a
Right,
little reserved, and maybe in that case it does not necessarily need to be shut down completely,
right,
but they need to be warmed up to the idea.
right. And
You
then
know
you
what I'm saying?
right, and then you ask, okay, what would make you feel comfortable? How can I
Right.
make you feel safe? How can I
Right.
make sure you feel protected? And
Right.
those kind that's but the
N-
conversation has to start.
yes, not the trauma end of it. I'm not talking
No,
about
yeah,
that.
the trauma
I'm
end of it,
just
that's a
saying,
wrap. Yeah,
right.
that's a wrap.
But I'm just saying, if you know that your spouse is just a little shy and a little, not uncomfortable because they're like, I'm not doing that, but uncomfortable because it's something they've never done before, they're a little reserved and they might like it, but they're just too shy about it, then that's a whole different story.
Now, let me briefly touch the trauma piece. And I
Hmm.
think Cameron might be about saying something in there. I'm going to put it up in a second. Let me briefly touch the trauma piece. If you express something to your mate about something you want to do different and you find out it is attached to trauma,
That's
that
it.
needs to be taken care of.
Well, yes,
Yes,
yes, yes,
yes,
yes.
yes, obviously shut it down and don't do it. But the other side of that is that needs to be processed and you need to begin the healing
Yeah,
process.
yeah, and not begin the healing so that you
No, no,
can
no, no, right,
revisit this
right, right.
this idea,
Good
but
point.
just
Good point.
so that the healing can be
Period.
taken, so
Right.
that healing can take place, not so that you can revisit. Where did that comment go?
I'm about to put it up right now.
Oh, yeah. My experience was this is from Kate McCoy. My experience
Oh, I thought it was Cameron. It's
with
Kate.
sexual abuse is that if something my spouse suggests has a negative association for me, I can shelf it. Not right now doesn't mean never. Good. As a newlywed, I need to build a history of positive experiences, but my thought was that I didn't want this good man, I married, to miss out because of the trauma he didn't cause.
Mm.
But he always accepted not right now, graciously and lovingly, never implying disappointment in me or our love because there's so many other fun options. That's
See
great, Kate.
that comment from Kate is the is 100% why these conversations should be happening
Exactly.
because you can't experience the level of connectedness that she is describing
Hmm.
without actually having the conversation.
Yeah, I love that too, Cameron.
That is
But
outstanding.
but here's the thing. I love that, Kate. I love it so much, and I'm so glad that you and your husband are in that space
Yep.
that you're able to do that. But not everyone is.
Not everyone is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not everyone is, but that is
That is
beautiful.
outstanding.
Yeah, that's
I
beautiful.
love it.
Kudos to your
Yep.
husband
I love
for
it.
cherishing you and holding your heart
Yep.
in that delicate way. Beautiful, beautiful,
And
beautiful.
that's a great example of why these conversations every Saturday night conversation we've had so far can be summed up in the beauty of what she just described.
Beautiful. Just
That
beautiful.
is the reason why these conversations need to happen, because you get an opportunity to learn your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
You get an opportunity to care for your spouse.
Mm,
You get an opportunity to love your spouse in the way that they need.
yeah. Oh, I just love that
That's
so
great.
much. I
That
just
is
love it so
great.
much because you know what else that does for me?
Hmm.
If I were Kate, what
Hmm.
that would do for me is with you just accepting that
Hmm.
and just, not lovingly not implying, like she said, disappointment in me or in Kate or the love life. What that does for me is lets me know that you're protecting me.
Hmm.
Oh, that's just so beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
And then I love too that Kate said that she said, not right now. And it doesn't mean never.
Right.
Like she's open to it as long as she is given the time and the space for healing.
Yep.
It creates a safe space for healing. Absolutely.
Yep. So we got to have these conversations, folks. We got to have these conversations.
Hmm.
It is it's so freeing.
Yeah. It can
It
be so
can be,
freeing.
when you are in a space where you can talk and you can share what essentially is intellectual intimacy,
Yes, absolutely.
where you're able to share your heart
Hmm.
and your spouse is able to share their heart, and you're able to go back and forth with some level of negotiation and explanation and clarification,
Hmm.
and you're able to hear each other, and you're able to hold each other up, and you're able to ask questions like, how can I support you, and how can I make you feel safe, and how can I make you feel comfortable. But
Yeah.
we got to start talking in order to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we shy away from these things, because think about what Kate just described, right? Think about if they never had the conversation,
Mm,
but yet one person was feeling like they were missing out,
yeah.
but never really talked about it so they could have this level of connection. Then that leads you down a whole nother path of things that you got to navigate and deal with and resolve, that you could avoid by just having a conversation initially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the whole point. I think that's a fantastic place to leave.
Fantastic. And I just love too that she is just, Kate is also willing, she's just open to the
Yeah.
relationship.
Hmm.
And she realizes that, she's got to build these new positive experiences.
Hmm.
She's not blaming her husband for
Right.
her past. Just beautiful.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Just beautiful.
Good stuff. That's a phenomenal
I
example
just pray all
of.
of the success and healing
Yeah.
and all of the positive things that you need and your relationship needs, and a lifetime of blessings and wonderful, wonderful intimacy. I'm just
Indeed.
happy with that. That's just beautiful.
Indeed. Shout out to Cameron. Shout out to Kate. Shout out to Marlene, who was in the comments. Shout out to all of you who are watching right now. If you just coming in, go back and catch the replay. We're just this. If you're not familiar with this space on Saturday night, we're not here every Saturday night, but we're here some Saturday nights. You can go back to our YouTube channel. I noticed most of our family today is in Facebook, but if you would so choose to go over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denali LLC, you can catch the other conversations that we have on Saturday night. You can also catch what is going to happen tomorrow, which is what's going to happen tomorrow?
Tomorrow is inside the relationship.
Inside the Relationship at 6 p.m. Inside the Relationship, also on our YouTube channel. Um, Inside the Relationship is a conversation about all things relationship. We have a few segments that we go through in every show, and all of them I feel like have been great shows. This show tonight is about having conversation.
Mhm.
It's not so much about giving advice. Inside the Relationship, you're going to get more advice because we're marriage coaches. Those of you who are not familiar with us, we are in the marriage coaching and men's enrichment space, and we help couples communicate without frustration and judgment, help to increase intimacy, and help you to build the relationship of your dreams. So tonight's show is all about the communication piece. There are some things that as couples we don't ever talk about.
Yeah.
Clients sit in front of us and we're like, listen, and listen, my wife will attest to this because she's seen it. They will describe something, and the first question I ask them is, "Have you talked about it?"
Right.
And I cannot tell you how many countless times people have been like, "Nah, we've never really talked
Well,
about it."
no, not really. Yeah.
Guys, we got to be able to talk about the tense things, the happy things, the taboo things, the great things, the
Yep.
not so great things, the
Yeah.
beautiful things, the ugly things. We have to be able to talk about them.
Yeah. It's
And so
important.
it's important. And so that is why this forum tonight exists. So we are so glad that you guys took the time out to hang out with us. We're going to get out of here. Again, please check us out on YouTube. We would love to have you as part of that community. There are some other things there that you can see as well. There's something called Coaching Chronicles, where I actually am giving excerpts of actual coaching sessions. So you get to see obviously no names and people and faces, but you get to hear some tips. And then inside the relationship, again, of course, tomorrow, Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that, we're going to get out of here. Listen, have the conversation. If you want to see something different happening in the bedroom, start talking about it. Start loving on your spouse. Now, here's the thing. Can I give one piece of advice, even though I said I wasn't going to? The one piece of advice is don't jump into the conversation about doing something different in the bedroom if you're not doing what you need to be doing
Mm,
outside of the bedroom.
that's right.
If you're not connecting with each other, if you're not building experiential intimacy,
Yeah.
if you're not loving on this man or woman the way that they need to be loved and want to be loved, don't just be talking about, hey, I want to be flipping you and rubbing you and all that kind of stuff. You got to start there first
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
and then come with the other stuff, right?
Hmm.
Because one more easily leads into the other.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you guys. We love you all, and we will see hopefully most of you tomorrow at 6 p.m. for Inside the Relationship. Don't forget, guys. Make sure you're having a conversation.
That's
All
right.
right,
Good
blessings.
night, everyone.
We'll see you later.